So this is the jBASE group. Greg Cooper, Patrick Payne, Ian Mears, Pete Schellenbach, and I'm Bruce Decker from Zumasys. And what are we doing other than drinking beer? We're talking about
jBASE 5.7, the new release, which we're all very excited about.
So yes. Guys, why? Why is there a jBASE 5.7?
It's how we keep work. As programmers,
back to our original point.
Yeah, we make things slow to start off with, so that the next release we can make them quicker, and we keep a job forever.
Very clever.
And then the next release we replace that with something we say is better but different, but unfortunately it's slower. And then the next release we make it quicker. Yes, so we've got lots of things in jBASE 7 that we obviously didn't have in jBASE 6. If it was in jBASE 6, we would have jBASE 5.7. So we've got things like dynamic objects and dynamic files. We've got Java extensions. We've got RESTFUL Services. So we'll talk about some of those. If you go around talking to a lot of the customers like I do, and you do, and well, we all do, don't we, really? Except for Ian.
I'll live in the house.
He just lives in his house.
Never allowed.
These are the technologies that they want, and they keep talking to us about them. When are we going to get it? So we've made our own wish list based on what our customers have told us. One thing we've put into jBASE is dynamic objects. So if you look at some of the jBASE source code now, it looks like JavaScript, but it's got all the familiar elements that MultiValue programmers are accustomed to. You know, it's got read statements and system calls, and it's got loops and repeats and go subs and go tos and everything like that. Everything a MultiValue application's got. But it's also got object support like JavaScript's got, and it's also got JSON support. And so we've married the language of MultiValue with a modern language like JavaScript, and we've come up with JBAScript, and that's going to be the best of both worlds.
Okay, so dynamic files. Who's doing dynamic files?
The idea of having to create a modulo and separation for all your files is a bit of a pain, and some customers have a procedure every week to resize their hash files. But to do that, you've got to have a time on the system when nobody's using the system, and not all companies have that. So what we now have are dynamic files where you don't provide a modulo, and it just works itself out. It works exactly like old hash files. You don't need to do anything or recompile anything or nothing, just that they are just there, and you can forget about them. They're more resilient to errors than the old hash files were. And the exciting thing is that they actually perform better than the old hash files.
Profiles. Who's doing profiles? So let's catch a profile here. Turn your head slightly sideways, perpendicular to the camera. Now you can talk about profiles.
So I've been with jBASE 16 years-ish now, and from day one up until today, the #1 problem is that configuring jBASE can allegedly be a little awkward. Existing users don't have a problem because they get the concept that they have to set environment variables and tell it where the files and binaries are, but new customers, it can be a nightmare. So basically the idea is we have a nice little central repository where you define everything, and that's basically it. If you open a shell, jBASE will find your configuration in the repository and set everything up for you. The configuration can be copied between different installations, so things like, you know, like where your files live, where the binaries are, when you're going to do your backups, just general day-to-day exciting things to do with your database. But the point is that it's totally meant to save you time and effort.
All right, well, who's doing JAgent, JRemote? That can't be Ian again.
Well, Ian helps with it.
Yeah.
He fixes my bugs.
All right, tell us about that.
So jBASE has several ways that the outside world could look in and ask jBASE to do things for it. One of them is handled by something we call jBASE Agent, which is a service process running in jBASE that accepts connections from the outside world. We've upgraded the Java interface to use a more up-to-date version of Java. I think the C# interface is pretty much what it has been. C# is C#. So, but and then Ian took that and said, well, the dynamic array implementation in the Java version was like for what? For I forgot the word you used, but it started with S, and so now it has its own internal. Highly optimized dynamic array implementation in Java, so it's many orders of magnitude faster, right?
I think from the customer complaint, it was about 2,000 times faster.
Yeah, that's way awesome.
Who knows about the customer portal?
Yeah, I can talk. I mean,
Okay.
The customer portal is just like if you go to Azure or AWS, you're going to have a portal that helps manage and speak down to your systems, and that's what this is for Zumasys. So you're going to have a customer portal where you can log in, you can manage your licenses, you can actually see activity on your system.
The things we've talked about are starting to address the problem. We have some very aggressive plans for 2018, which will further enhance it as well. So we're on the move now. We are adding this stuff, and we've got lots of plans for a lot more for our customers as well. So watch out 2018.
So we're not static JBase anymore.
No, we're not static. We do have static files.
So should we release this thing?
What do you mean, this video or this 5.7?
This 5.7 is.
I think
Let's just finish our beer.
we'll
I
decide
want
it.
objects.
How about a
so
toast?
I want it released.
Toast to
Yeah,
5.7. Have fun with it.